Okay, Rabotai, good evening. We're going to talk about the Parashat Vai'Era. There's a couple of interesting illusions that I want to talk about. Number one, first of all, there's the issue with Avraham Avinu, right, over here. That there are, first of all, this Parsha continues about the life of Avraham Avinu. And talks about the later trials that he had towards the end of his life as he went on. Altogether, the Chazal say he had 10 trials, and these were very difficult ones. So, and two of them are listed over here very clearly. One of them is, of course, that he had to kick out his son Ishmael. Ishmael was a bad boy, so he had to throw him out of the house. This is a very difficult. Everybody loves their son. So Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to see if he's really loyal to Hashem. You're going to throw out your son, even though you love him, because you love me? This was one of the great trials of Avraham Avinu. In the end,
that was before he almost slaughtered Yitzchak, right?
In the end, that's the last one. That's the binding of Yitzchak.
So this is number 9.
This is not right. This is not number 9, but it's one of the middle ones, right? Exactly. The last one was the binding of Yitzchak. We talked about that, right? So Avraham Avinu here had many great tests that he had to go through, and all this was in order to show that he was really loyal to God. Because a person who is really loyal to God, what's a sign? That he'll change his nature, he'll go against his nature in order to do the will of God. You know what it says, right? Pirkei Avot. It says in Pirkei Avot, if you want God to do your will, do His will. What does that mean? It's a function. This comes as a function. If you do His will, what does that mean? You follow halakha. So Hashem will, in the end, He'll do your will. We're going to see about this, but also in the Parsha, this idea. What does that mean? That Avraham Avinu over here, in this Parsha, comes, Kadosh Baruch Hu sends the angels to him and tells them, oh, wait a second, we're going to destroy the Sodom and Amorah, we're going to destroy these two cities, right? These were two big metropolises, not small cities, these, you know what I'm saying? Two big, large, huge metropolises. And there was also Adonai Tzvoim together with those cities. Four cities were wiped out, like these cities, right? So what happened was that Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, to Avraham Avinu, he says, you know what? You're the owner of this land. I'm giving you Eretz Israel. I gave you the rights, the lease, to the land. You're the one who has the title to the land. So therefore I have to ask you, if you agree with what I'm doing, I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. So Kadosh Baruch Hu tells him, I'm going to destroy it. So comes Avraham Avinu and says, wait a second, but let's talk, let's make a deal, Remember let's make a deal, remember that? Right? Let's make a deal. What does that mean? Okay, 50 tzaddikim, will you do it? Right? 50 tzaddikim, will you kill? If there's 50 tzaddikim, will you save the city? He says, yeah. Okay, let's go down to 45. 45. Do I have 45? Do I have 45? Auction. Like auction style. They have deal, right?
Auction and reverse.
Right, exactly. Reverse. Right. Reverse auction. Okay, do I have 40? Okay, do I have 30? Do I have 20? Do I have 10? Okay, 10. That's the last one, right? If you have a minyan, right? I'll save the city for a minyan. That's it, right? So in the end, what happened? There's no minyan, right? That's the idea. So what happened? Why did Kadosh Baruch Hu agree to do all this dealing and wheeling and dealing with Avraham Avinu? You know why? Because Avraham Avinu did the will of Hashem. When you do the will of Hashem, Hashem does your will. That's why he got this deal like this, going down 40, 30, 20, 10, jackpot. That's the idea. Nevertheless, there wasn't enough people there. So what happened was that as the angels came, I want to point out this idea, right? The angels came and they talked to Avraham Avinu about what's going to be. All these 3 angels, each one of them has a separate mission, right? One of them came to tell Avraham Avinu, you're going to have a son next year, right? Ben Zachar, Brit Milah, right? You're going to have Brit Milah next year. Invite me to the Brit Milah, right? And we'll have a nice party. We'll enjoy everything right together. That's the idea. So what happened was that one of the angels came for that reason. The second angel came for what? To destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. To destroy those cities. That whole metropolis is going to be wiped out.
One destroyed both.
All of them. All the cities. Right? So that's the idea. Number 3, the third one was, what's he coming to do? To save Lot. So Lot was over there living, right? Who was Lot? He was the nephew of Avraham Avinu. So Lot was, one of these quasi Jewish guys. What does that mean? 1 foot over here, 1 foot over there. One of these guys, right? What does that mean? He was like a conservative Jew, Some things he keeps, some things he doesn't keep, like this, At this one I believe, this one I don't believe, Pick and choose. One of these guys, you understand? So Nevertheless, even though Lot himself was not a big tzaddik, he was no big prize. Let's put it this way, right? No big prize. But nevertheless, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to save Lot for several reasons, right? One of them was because he was a nephew of Avraham Avinu. He had zechut that he accompanied him, and he went with him. What happened? They say, right, that Lot did one mitzvah from Avraham Avinu. What mitzvah did he do? Every time Avraham Avinu would tell Lot, "Don't reveal that my wife, was in a suitcase," because he would hide her. She was very beautiful, so he didn't want anybody to see her. So he wouldn't say nothing, right? He wouldn't reveal the secrets that she was being hidden in the suitcase. Every time he would cover for him. You understand? So because this is one of the reasons why he was saved. Also, another reason is because what they say the Chazal that Mashiach is coming from Lot. What does that mean? That there are two ladies that are going to come from Lot, which are going to be the wives of the kings, and then Mashiach is going to come from them. Right? So Lot is considered to be him. He himself is a 50-50 guy. One of these guys. Gray area. Gray area. But his daughters are going to be tzaddikim, two descendants of his. This is the reason why he's going to come and save Lot. For these reasons. So what happens is, by the way, they say the Chazal, this is something which is important to understand, that sometimes a person is saved not because he has the zechut, because of the children that are destined to come from him. This covers for him sometimes. Even though he himself is not a big tzaddik, he's not a big prize, he himself would not have the merit. Because they say, wait a second, but his grandson is going to be a big chacham. He's going to be,
Why should he have this merit?
Huh?
Why should he have this merit?
What does that mean? What's the question?
Why should the offspring of a Rasha be a Chassid? Why should
you know what it is? That sometimes what happens is, many times we find that a person is an Amaretz himself. Like a very simple Jew, one of these 50-50 guys, over here a little bit, over there, over here, but he has some zechut that he did some things, I'll give you an example. For instance, some people are very honest, very straight people. And because of that, they live their lives very honestly. They don't cheat, they don't trick people, they don't play games. And because of that, they have a zechut to have a great son like this, big tzaddik. Because of that zechut that they had, comes from them something very, very good in the end. So this is what Lot had. He had something good inside of him that was, wanted to come out of him. So therefore he saved them because of that. So what happens is like this, right? These three angels now come and sit over there with Avraham Avinu. What happens is that they tell, to Avraham Avinu, next year, Mazal Tov, my wife is going to have a child. Wow, Mazal Tov, B'Shat Tovah. So Sarah Imenu is standing right where she's standing. She's in the tent. They were living in a tent because they were traveling around. So what happened was that she's standing in the tent over there and eavesdropping. Women like to eavesdrop. They say, right? This is one of the characters of the women. They always want to know what's going on. They want to know what's not pertinent to them. They want to get that information. They have a tendency to want to get into all the gossip information, right? All the stuff. Whatever. This is their nature, the women. So she was eavesdropping a little bit.
Men are the same.
Women much more. You understand? They like to gossip. They like to get into these things. If you ever notice, by the way, if a woman is curious about something, she'll ask you 1,000 questions about it. For different angles, right? Yeah. This angle, that angle. That tricky. They want to get that information. They'll get it from you. Whatever. That's the idea, right? So this is the way it goes. So our Sarah man was listening to the conversation, eavesdropping from the tent. So she hears, your wife is going to have a child next year. Mazal tov. So Sarah Imenu says, what are you kidding me? He says, I'm an old woman already. I'm wrinkled. I have no more, periods. I don't have any, what children? What do I have? I'm an old woman, pensionerit. What am I? I can barely, I can barely look in the mirror and look at myself. I'm wrinkled already. Everything. What children am I going to have now? So what happened was that when she heard all this, she also had another problem with this, which was that Avraham Avinu also was already old. So he says, my husband is going to have a child now. He's 100 years old. 99 years old. He's going to have a child. He's an old man. Walking around like this. What child? What are you talking about? So she chuckled. Chaitzina. She didn't believe. So what happened was that the angels overheard her like that.
Did she know that there were angels also?
That's a good
Well, at
question.
this time,
The truth is that Avraham Avinu didn't know. He himself did not know.
but
He thought
at
they
this
were.
time-
He thought they were Bedouins. You know.
At this time, he knew already, or still he?
They-
At this time,
They,
when they were eating.
I think that the realization came as things went on. As the information got out, it was clear already that they were angels, right?
So at this time,
but-
he knew. But she didn't.
But what happened was that it seems like they both knew at this point, because once you start talking about the future, not talking about Bedouins, right? Bedouins don't talk about the future. You know what I mean? They talk about there are other things, more practical things, right? So what happens is that comes this angel, right, and overhears that she's chuckling, So tells Abraham, hey, what is she chuckling about? What's so funny? What's so funny? What is anything hard for God to do? Just because you're old and she's old and you're old, so what? Hashem can do anything. He can pull a miracle on you. What's the problem? So she, right? The pasuk says, once she heard the angel that that angel made that remark like that. What did she do? She says, "No, I didn't laugh. What, are you kidding me? I never laughed. Never never did such a thing like that. You must have heard, from some speakers, some Wi-Fi, something, something. You must have. What are you talking? I never laughed." So what does the pasuk say? But she did laugh. So the angel comes and tells her, "But you did laugh. Don't tell me your stories. You did laugh." So then she stayed quiet. She knew that she was, she was rebuked. She was cornered. He cornered her. You know what I mean? So what happens is like this, right? Now we have from here to learn a very important lesson. What does that mean? There's actually halakha, which is very interesting, right, about this issue. Question is, are women considered to be liars, or honest people, in general? In other words, can you believe them as a witness in court? You know what I mean? This is the question.
Not in the old days, at least.
Not in the old days. So, this is the question. So the truth is that the Torah here has two different approaches for two different issues. What does that mean? According to the Torah, when it comes to monetary law, you're suing him, for $1 million, monetary law, right? Or capital cases, death penalty, right? Things like this, women are not believed. They cannot testify in court. They're not
Just
believed.
as I thought.
Even if you bring 100 women, we're not going to believe them. Even 1,000.
Good.
Even if some of them are prophets, prophets and the most righteous, honest woman in the world, we won't believe them. 2 witnesses, men, we believe them. Okay? But when it comes to something else,
Some of them are to believe, but we don't take that risk.
so now let me explain to you. So comes now from the other side of the halakha, women are believed. What does that mean? I'll give you an example, right? Let's say, right, you get married, and your wife went to the mikveh, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully she's going every month, right? Not only the first time. So what happens like this now? If your wife comes home and tells you, I went to the mikveh, are you allowed to believe her or not? Or you have to call the mikveh lady and say, "Excuse me, kalbatono, was my wife there?" Or tell her, "Bring me a receipt." Do you have to tell her to bring you a receipt?
Well, why
Or
would she
can
lie
you believe
about
her?
that?
Why would she lie? Right? Why would she lie? So, question is, are you allowed to believe her? According to halakha, I'm talking, right? Or let's say, for instance, your wife cooks for you, nice chalia, she makes chalia and gomi, nice. So you come home after a long day's work, right? And she puts it on the table for you. Beautiful, nice Georgian dinner. So now, right, you ask her, "Excuse me, but is the food kosher?" Right? Where'd you buy the chicken? Which store was that? Was that kosher or black kosher? What was that? So she tells you, "Yeah, black kosher." What are you talking about? What, you suspect me? I'm going to make you something bad? So are you allowed to believe her or not? That's the question, right? Or you have to call the store, say, "Excuse me, but did you see my wife today over there buying a brisket?"
Men lie,
What about that?
but Rabbi, men lie all the time.
Men lie all the time. Okay, so what's the halakha? Halakha says we believe the women in these things. When it comes to going to the mikveh, when it comes to kashrut, we believe them. That's it. So now the question is like this, right? First of all, why do we have this dichotomy, right? When it comes to monetary law, capital cases, we don't believe in women. When it comes to isurim, what does that mean, isurim? Forbidden things, like this, mikveh, kashrut, we believe them. We don't require from them any receipts or any, whatever. Some kind of no, we don't need that. So the question is why? What's his dichotomy? And what does it have to do with our parsha? So the truth is, right, that it's very interesting. From this parsha, what do you see? So it says in the pasuk, right, ki yarea. What does that mean? The pasuk says that this is the reason why Sarah Aminu, she lied over here. Ki yarea. What does that mean, ki yarea? That means that she was afraid. She got scared.
She lied about what?
She said, "I didn't laugh. I didn't chuckle.
Oh, I didn't laugh, right?
I didn't share. I didn't laugh. Archa mitzidia. Hey, Rasta Barako." You know. So
Is it a significant lie? I mean,
it's not so much, but you know, the question is, why did she lie? So what does the pasuk say? Because she was afraid.
yeah,
What was she afraid of? Did she think that the angel was going to come and kill her?
yeah.
What,
This one also
what was she?
lied to you. I apologize about what she does over. You didn't tell me the truth.
I told you. I
She
told
came
you.
here and she was looking for.
Now you agree with me that there's something there. There's
She
something.
walked into a synagogue that day. Jimmy wasn't here. In her place, if I really wanted to change my life, I would come forward, tell the rabbi what I'm doing, the mistakes I've made. But she's ashamed also.
No, she used to go to a priest, not to a rabbi. Come to confession.
Okay, David, let's not get into that now. I think there's some kind of obsession. There's an obsession over there. I told you. Okay. Come sit down. Join us. Come sit down. Tu mohu adi dačeki. Dabzandi. Okay, we'll talk. So,
Can I interrupt? When she chuckled, what was Abraham's reaction?
oh, that's a good question. So the truth is, you know what they say, right? Like husband, like wife. You know what they say, right? Abraham Avinu also laughed.
Does it say there that?
Yeah, he laughed.
He left.
But the Chazal say her chuckle and his laugh were for different reasons. Sarah Imenu chuckled because she didn't believe it, really. You know, Abraham Avinu, he laughed because he was happy. You know, ecstasy. You know, you know, this kind of thing. You understand? It was two different trips.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now what's the story? The story is like this, right? The pasuk says she lied because she was afraid. So what does that have to do with our discussion? When it comes to monetary law, when it comes to capital cases, things like this, these are serious issues, you know. So the problem is that it's exactly the point. Women sometimes they get scared in these things. What does that mean? They're afraid that there's going to be some kind of reprisal, you know? Yeah, some kind of vengeance, you know, some kind of thing, and they don't want to get involved with that. You understand? So, what is the pasuk telling you over here? That a woman will lie because of fear. If you scare a woman enough, you know, she will fib. This is the idea. You understand? But women are scaredy cats. You understand? This is the difference. Because they're emotional. You know? Men are more, you know? Zdarov, you know? So, what does that mean? That a woman, in these kinds of cases, we were afraid that they're scared. There's some kind of fear over there. You know why? Because a woman will very easily lie. They're very practical women, you know? They'll very easily lie just to make peace, you know, to make, you know, shalom. There shouldn't be any fights, no animosity, no enmity. They will lie for that. They see that, no problem with that. By women, this is the reason why we don't believe in these cases. When it comes to things like this, you know, isurim, like going to mikveh and kashrut, there's no issue of fear over there, you know. It's just a matter of, you know, keeping kosher, keeping the mitzvot. You know, she knows that she's not going to get killed over here. There's not going to be any reprisals unless maybe the husband is very, you know, dangerous. That's something else. If the husband is violent, she will lie. Also on these things as well. That's why the Chazal say, the Talmud, they say, right? The worst thing to do as a husband is to run your family with fear. You know what I mean? Because if they're scared of you, your family, they will lie to you all the time. You know? So don't run your family with fear. That's what they tell you, right? Be gentle, you know? Nice. You know? You have to, on the one hand, you have to lead the family. On the other hand, don't be a mafia boss. You know? Don't be a godfather. You know? It's not the way to be.
Right.
Chill out. You know? Chill. Stay chill. So this is the thing. This is the reason why. So the insight over here is like this, right? That from here we see why women, not because women are dishonest in general. That's not the reason why. The reason because of the fear. This is the insight over here, right? Another interesting insight into this parsha, also pretty fascinating. probably even more fascinating, right? We see over here the story of Lot, right? What happens over here? Lot, after Sodom and Amorah is destroyed, he was living there. You understand? He was also not only living there at the last moment before this happened. He was appointed to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Courts of Sodom and Amorah. Can you imagine? Chief Justice. You know? Wow. Why is that? Why did they appoint Lot? Because he was Talmid of Avraham Avinu. You know? They knew that he learned from him some wisdom. He was Talmid. So because of that, they said, we're going to put you to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So all of a sudden, it's now a big shot. There's a big shot over there. So what happens is, right, that the angels came to him also. One of the angels already left, by the way, right? Only 2 angels came. Because one of them already did his job. He went back to his house, right? Went back home to the heavens, right? That's the idea, right? If I remember correctly, by the way, they say these angels, who are they? Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, right? These are the angels that they had over there.
Gabriel, one of them is Gotcha.
I knew he was going to say.
Did you know his Hebrew name? You knew it?
I'm onto it. Okay, so. Okay. No comment on that. Let's go on, right? So they say these 3 angels, one of them already left. He did his job, went away. Now 2 of them come to Lot. They tell Lot, listen, you got to get out of here. We're going to overturn these cities. It's going to be like, overturn plate. Take a plate, a bowl, like this, like this. You spill everything out. That's what we're going to do over here. All going to be gone. Get out now, while you can. Take your children with you. Take your wife. He started to, what did he do? He started to scramble. Why? Because he wanted to pay all his wealth. He was looking to find his vaults. Safe deposit box. The angels told him, we don't have time for that. Yo, wake up. We got to get out of here. Another few minutes. That's it. We're out. It's going to be destroyed. Everything's going to be destroyed. So he couldn't settle himself. They took a hold of him like this. His hand. They said, that's it. We're going. Take anything just grab everything you can get out of here. So what happens is, right, that they overturn the city, they save Lot, everything happens. Okay, fine. What happens like this, right? Now, who's left over from all this disaster? Only Lot and his daughters. That's all there is. His wife died also, right? Why is that? Because she looked back, right? The famous, right? And became a pillar of salt. What's the story about this? You guys know the story? Should I tell you?
Yeah, tell us.
Tell us. Stories like this, right? That when Lot brought these angels home as guests, because he found them in the town square, right?
Somebody borrowed something.
Right. What happens is that Lot finds them over there. So he tells them, he says, "Why are you lodging in the street? Come to my house. I'll give you some hospitality." Yeah? Georgian hospitality, right? So what happens is, right, that he brings them in. First of all, by the way, they refuse to come with him. When it comes to Avraham Avinu, they didn't refuse him. When it comes to Lot, they refused him. Why is that? As they say the Chazal, there's also a lesson from that, right? What does that mean? You're allowed to refuse a small person, somebody who's not important, to a large Adam Gadol, big person, prominent person. You're not allowed to refuse him. If he tells you to come, you got to go.
They were coming to Avraham Avinu anyway. They wouldn't refuse it.
They were left Avraham Avinu. Now the second stop, right?
You said that they would not refuse Avraham Avinu.
They did not.
So, but they were coming to. Why would they refuse it?
They were coming to him to tell me information. Okay. But he didn't invite him for a meal. That's something else. You know what I mean? That's already a different story. You know what I mean? Angels don't eat anyway, right? They don't need to eat. So therefore, they had to go out of their way to accommodate him. But no besarim l'adam gadol. To a great man, you're allowed to refuse him. A great man invites you. Okay, so fine. So what happens is, right, that Lot in the end, he got them anyway to come in. You know how? He pushed them, like a Georgian, Georgian. Come on, please, let's go. No, I want to have you. I can't live without you. I love you so much. You're my true love. Come, let's go. So he pushed him like this. He made them nuts. So they okay, fine. They said okay, fine. So they went into his house. Right? What happened? So he takes him, instead of taking him to the regular route to his house, they took him to back channels. The back roads. Right? Why is that? Because there was a law in Sodom, right? There were such wicked people over there. You're not allowed to bring guests into your house. You know what I mean? No hospitality. This wasn't Georgia. You know what I mean? So no hospitality over there. So what happens is he tells them, he says, listen, he says, I want to bring you to my house, but we have to go back to the back channels because otherwise I'm going to get caught. My goose is cooked. You know what I mean? So he brings them in the back like this. Yeah? Okay, so fine. He was able to get them in without anybody noticing. So what happens is, right, his wife, spoils everything. What does she do? She sees these guests coming into the house. So she tells Lot, he says, what are you doing? You crazy? You bringing guests over here? Don't you know that this is against the law? We're going to get over here now a big problem over here, Big issue. There's going to be a big issue. Says, what? Because so what's the reason why Lot invited them? So they say in Chazal, the reason why Lot invited them was because he was telling them about Avraham Avinu and he learned hospitality from him. Hospitality comes from Avraham Avinu. This whole concept of hospitality comes from him. Also the Ishmaelim, that they have also this concept of hospitality. It comes from Avraham Avinu. Where they get this from? Avraham Avinu. This is where they got this from. So this concept in the world comes from Avraham Avinu. So what happens is like this, right? That he brings them into his house. His wife sees them. She doesn't like it, right? One reason she doesn't like it is because it's against the law. Number two, she doesn't want to work and now start cooking for them. It's a big job. So she says, you know what? I don't want this. So what does she do? She says, you know what? I'm gonna play games now. What does she do? Decides to play games. She goes over to the neighbors, right? Tells them, excuse me, you have some salt? We're out of salt. We have guests coming to the house tonight. We're cooking dinner for them. Oh, yeah? They gave her the salt, right? Exactly. She squealed. So they called the police, the authorities over there. Come over here right now. There's guests over here, Catch them. They surrounded the whole house, right? And they wanted to break down the door and everything, right? So what happened was that all this story, so Lot gets saved. Now all that's left is him and his daughters. His wife is gone. Why? She looks back, right? The angel told them, don't look back. Why is that? What's the reason why? It's an amazing, the Chazal say, the reason is because they were not such big tzaddikim that they can see the destruction and also get out. They didn't have the zchut to do both. So they told him, you only have the zchut to get out if you don't look, because if you look, that makes you already involved. Like you're an accomplice. You don't have such a big zchut like that. You're not such a big tzaddikim. So he tells them, don't look back, just keep going. Right? So she looked back. You know why? She wanted to see if the daughters were coming, the son-in-laws. He also had son-in-laws over there. Son-in-laws didn't get out, right? They didn't get out. You know why? He told them, let's go. The city's gonna be overturned. The son-in-laws thought he was a practical joker. They thought they were a practical joke. And I said, that's really funny, huh? Oh, that's right. That's a very nice joke, They thought it was a joke. Joke was on them. Understand? Doesn't happen, right? So it happens not like this, right? That he goes now, Lot, and he starts to go away from there, right? He doesn't want to stay in that area. The angels told him, by the way, they could stay there. There's a city that they told him to go to, but he was afraid to stay there. Once he saw the destruction, he was like totally, obliterated. Psychologically, he couldn't stay there anymore. He said, "My God, what do I see? What is my eye see?" Can you imagine if a person would see such a thing like this? Whole city, a metropolis gets destroyed. Would he stay there in the vicinity? He would run from there, right? You see what happened, right? When the 9/11, right? People were running like this. Once they saw what happened, everybody was running uptown. Uptown. Like this, Why? Because they couldn't, when you see something like that, you get in shock. Can you imagine when you see the whole city like that? So what happens is, right, Diet Center, so what happened, they left the area, so they went into a cave, you understand? They went into a cave. Over there, now these girls, right, his daughters, just him and the father, right? Them and the father. So now these girls now start to have this discussion, right? Okay, well, they thought the whole world was destroyed. They thought it was an apocalypse now, right? Gog and Magog, right? So they thought, oh my God, everything was destroyed. So they said, you know what? We're the only ones left in the world. So we're going to have children from our father in order to continue the human race. This was their intention, yeah. So, okay, fine. So they get their father drunk, right? 2 nights in a row. They get pregnant from him. They have children. And from them comes these 2 nations, right? Who are these 2 nations? Ammon and Moab. Right? Okay, fine. So as we said, right, that from these 2 nations, Ammon and Moab, are going to get Mashiach. Going to come Mashiach from them. Why is that? Because Ruta Moaviyah is going to come from Moab. She's the mother of David HaMelech, the great grandmother. She marries Boaz, right? Who's the great grandfather of David HaMelech, and Mashiach comes from there. What about Ammon? Naama Hamonit, who was the wife of Shlomo Melech, comes from her. Right? She was the wife. So also Mashiach comes from her as well. These two nations, two different women like this. Mashiach comes from them. So the question is like this, right? People always ask this question. The question is, if this is the root of Mashiach, what is Mashiach? The ultimate holy man, right? The ultimate prophet, the ultimate savior. The Neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu was there. You know what I mean? She's supposed to come, like this is the answer to David's question, from such a dirty place like this, a filthy, incest, Eee. This is Mashiach. This is disgusting. What can be more disgusting than this? Even your girl David, it's even worse than this. It's even worse than that. How can you have Mashiach coming from incest? Such a thing. What a disgrace. Yeah. And also there was the other episode, right, which was Yehuda. Later on, we're going to see, right? Yehuda with Tamar. Right. Also, Mashiach comes from Tamar was dressed up as a prostitute. This is the whole thing, right?
Jack Nicholson came from incest.
Yeah, but not. Okay. But Mashiach is a little bit different, right? So what's the story? Why does Mashiach have to come from such dirty roots like this? What a disgusting prostitution, incest. Eek. This is Mashiach. This is a horror movie, Jack Nicholson, like you said, What is this business? So the Zohar Kadosh says something very deep about this. It says Zohar Kadosh. The truth is, right? We discussed this a little bit before, but I want to reiterate this idea. It says Zohar Kadosh that a person who sinned, one of the problems is that when he comes back in a Gilgul, Kadosh Baruch Hu brings him back again to rectify his sins, right? But because he sinned in the former lifetime, he cannot come to a clean place now. He has to come to a dirty place. Dysfunctional family, something like that. Or even worse than that. Even worse, incest, things like this. He cannot come to a clean place. He sinned already, but it's not former. Why is that? Why can't he come to a clean place? What's the reason why?
So he is coming from an unholy...
He himself caused this. But the question is why? So it says Kadosh, the reason is because comes a Satan and accuses this person. Satan says, this person doesn't deserve to be born again. He was a sinner, We should wipe out his soul, destroy him. So the only deal that we could get with that, there's like a plea bargain over here going on. It's a plea bargain. What's a plea bargain? We tell him, okay, he doesn't deserve to come to a good place, but let's bring him into a dirty place. Over there we can bring him, That's what he deserves. That's what he sowed that's the seeds that he sowed. Now he's going to reap the harvest. Right? So they say, okay, Satan says, okay, we can bring him to a dirty place. That's fine. So what happens is now they bring him to a dirty place. And he's born in there. So his job is not to get out of that dirt, to get out of the filth and to overcome that filth and, become a tzaddik. This is the idea, right? But he has to be an underdog. Cannot be somebody who just came, like walking like, the rose garden. Doesn't work like that anymore. So you already messed up.
It's like Obama, basically. Look where he came from.
He walked into a rose garden.
Exactly. Okay, so now what happens like this, right? Here also, the idea is like this, that these neshamot, there were some neshamot that fell down in the time of Adam HaRishon. We talked about this, right, before the class. Adam HaRishon, his sin, because of the sin of Adam HaRishon, many neshamot fell into the klipot, they fell into the tumah. So in order to get them out, they have to come to a dirty place. So what happens is that these neshamot also, when it comes to Yehuda and his descendants, Er and Onan, right? The two sons died because of their sins. They died. Why? Because they spilled their seed, masturbation. Right? This is the idea, right? They ejaculated outside with their wife. So what happened was that now they had to die because of that. They had to come back and get reincarnated.
What if they ejaculated without the wife?
That's the same thing.
Same thing,
yeah. If you're outside, you're outside, That's the idea, right? But what does that mean? That means that your intention is not to have children. That's why you do it. In other words, you want to just have get some pleasure. It's a discussion. We'll discuss that some other time, but
no, it's okay.
Because there are some details involved with that. Anyway, what happens is like this, right? That comes as the Zohar Kadosh. These people had to come to a dirty place like that because Satan would not come to let them come to a clean place. There were some sins over there. They did. These neshamot. So the only way they can come is through dirty channels like this. Until the whole line of the family is fixed up. Once they're all fixed up, everybody, they can now come through cleaner channels. You know what I mean? But when they're going through that process of purification of the neshamot, of the souls, they have to come through dirty channels. That's the only way they can come. So this is the reason why, right? These neshamot have to come this way, because the Satan doesn't allow them to come to a clean channel, especially when it comes to what? When it comes to Mashiach. What does that mean? Satan has a vested interest to prevent Mashiach. Why? Because he knows that once Mashiach comes, he's gone, right? He's out of business, right?
Where is Mashiach coming from? What channel? What?
From King David, right? From King David.
No. So he's in fact the Mashiach that we're waiting for is coming from
King David.
Unpure.
Yes.
These are the roots.
I see.
Yeah.
That's where Mashiach is coming.
Yeah. So now what happens like this?
As long as he saves me, what do I care where he's coming from? Honestly.
Okay, that's good. Good point.
It's
a good point. But there's something to understand over here. You know what I mean?
No. It's
there's a depth over here.
interesting.
So now what I tell you like this, right? That there's also a different issue. Satan knows that Mashiach is his death sentence. Understand? Death penalty. So therefore he does everything to prevent the coming Mashiach. Tries to trip it up, do something. He knows how to trip up things. Satan that's his profession. He knows how to trip up everything. He knows how to get in there, and pull some tricks, prevent this, prevent that. So he does anything to prevent it. Not only that, they say, because the Satan knows that Mashiach is his enemy, mortal enemy, what he does is he tries to kill them also. He tries to kill the descendants of David HaMelech. There should be nobody left. Wipe out all of them. So there's a constant war going on, you understand? He's trying to wipe them out. He's trying to cleanse them out of business, right? He says, better than you than me. That's what he says, right? Better you should be wiped out than me. So therefore he tries to get rid of them. How does he try to get rid of them? To judge them, they did some sins. This kind of thing, you understand? To always accuse them, but try to, batter them, as much as possible. Right? Satan has a vested interest in that. So therefore this is the reason why also Mashiach has to come through channels like this. You understand? Because these things, these events for the Satan is very painful for him. He cannot stand. He cannot tolerate these things.
Is
so therefore he tries to.
Mashiach himself? Is he a sinner himself?
Mashiach no. Mashiach, this is Moshe Rabbeinu, right?
Yeah. So
the soul of Mashiach is Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah.
Right? So Moshe Rabbeinu, you know what he is, right? He's like the Chazal say, from above his belt he was angel, from below his belt he was human being, right? It was like something very unusual, right? As we said, he was 10 amot tall. You know how tall he was, the Moshe Rabbeinu? 10 amot. You know how much is that? 5 meters. 15 feet tall. Tall guy, right? Twice as tall as Magic Johnson, right? Yeah, something like that, right?
When your average person was like us.
We're like 5'8", 5'10", 6 foot, whatever. He's 15 feet tall.
Just like David, he was 5 amot. And the average person?
10 amot. 10 amot.
Okay. Right. The
average person is
like our height at that time.
The average.
At that time.
I don't think it really changed, to be honest with you. We don't find that it changed. So the average person is about, let's say, a meter, right? Meter 70, right? Like meter 80, right? That's the average person.
5'8", and he was 15
feet tall. Yeah. Can you imagine? Big man. So that's the idea of a So this is the reason why that this occurs. This whole thing. Okay, very good. So do we have some time?
Today is 9 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is that? Andre the Giant.
He was 7'4".
No.
He was 7'4".
During my era, our era, I remember all of those.
The good old days.
I took the quiz. I got 98%. 70s and 80s wrestlers.
Okay, so let's do some Mishlei, right? Proverbs.
Okay.
I'll give you something nice over here. Look what it says, right? In the wisest of men, Shlomo Melech, he says, "Oger b'kaitz ben maskil, nirdaf b'katzir ben mevish." Right? So talking here about the simple meaning is talking about farming. What does that mean? That a person has to know when he's a farmer. In those days, most people were farmers, right? So this was a parnasah, was coming through farming. What happens is it says like this, right? That a person who's a person who's industrious, what does he do? In order that he should profit from his farming and feed his family, what he does is he harvests in the summer. He doesn't leave it there. He gathers it up. He doesn't leave it there because it's going to rot. It's going to get ruined. It's going to get ruined. So if you're an industrious person, what do? You gather when you have to gather. That's the idea, right? But so it says, but when it comes to the lazy person, he doesn't do, right? He leaves it like that and loses, right? This is the idea. So the truth is, right, Chazal say this also has a different meaning. So what is that? What is it trying to tell you? Don't be lazy, right? Shlomo Melech has many passages over here in Mishlei about being lazy, how bad it is that a person is not industrious. He doesn't want to. Shlomo Melech, he doesn't like to work. He doesn't have a work ethic. This is a problem, a person who's lazy, getting up late in the morning, watching cable TV, that's the remote control. How you gonna live like this? If you do this all day, you gotta do something with your life. You know what I mean? You gotta do something. Otherwise, you're not gonna get anything done. But the truth is that also there's a deeper meaning here, right? Which is what the deeper meaning is also regarding Torah. If a person wants to learn Torah, he has to be also industrious. What does that mean? You got to be consistent with Torah. Day in, day out. Open up the books, start systematically learning the Torah. How do you do this systematically? First Aleph Bet, right? Learn Aleph Bet. Good, very, very good. Make sure you know it good. Then start to systematically learn the Bible. 5 books of Moses, the 24 books of the Bible.
How many books are there altogether?
24 books in the Bible. This is the written Torah, right? So what does he do? What does the fool do? The fool says, it's too big, this mountain. I can't climb. It's Mount Everest. What is the tzaddik? What does the wise guy do? Every day he does a little bit. One parak, one chapter. 2 mishnayot, 1 chapter, 2 chapters, whatever. And eventually he'll finish. That's the way it is, right? So a person who has a work ethic also in Torah, he also profits. You understand? This is the thing, right? As we said, the main source of parnasah is the Torah. So if a person also wants to have parnasah, Torah is the ticket, right? Don't miss Torah if you want to have parnasah. That's the idea, right? That's the whole idea. Where do we learn that? There's a pasuk, right? What does it say? Osher v'chavod. It says, right? Orech yamin b'minah u'smola osher b'chavod. What does that mean? On the right side of Torah is length of days. It also prolongs your life. And on the left side of Torah is wealth and kavod, honor, right? So we see from that the Torah is the main source of wealth as well. So what does that mean? That a person also has to be systematic with Torah, just like with everything else in life. Just like you're systematic in your business, just like you're systematic in your work, you gotta be systematic with Torah. Consistency, right? Day in, day out, every day. Something you do every day. Gather up more and more and more. Once he finishes the written Torah, then he goes to the oral Torah, right? The Mishnayot. Then he goes to the Talmud. Then he learns Midrashim. Then he learns Halacha. Right? One thing by little, like this, right? You gotta go systematic. Every day, something you gotta do. You have to have a system.
There's 66 books on with Mishnayot.
Mishnayot 60 Mishnayot, 30 tractates in the Talmud, right? Then we have many Midrashim as well, right? And we have the Shulchan Aruch, the Halacha, Rambam, right? No end to it, right? No end in sight, as I said, right? This is the idea. So this is the idea as well, right? If you're going to be lazy, how are you going to gather Torah? Just like in business, you have to be consistent. Also with Torah, you have to be consistent. It's the only way to do it, right? That's the idea. Okay, very good. The person who's not, like one day here, one day there, one day I'll come, one day I won't come, one day I'll open a book, one day I don't have time, Also, some people like this with tefillin, one day they put tefillin, one day they don't put tefillin. It doesn't work like that, It has to be consistent, just like everything else. If you're not consistent, like Rav Shach used to say, one of the big rabbis of this generation, Rosh Shiva, one of the Rosh Shivas, big Rosh Shivas, he used to say, if you learn every day, one day you'll be gadol, you'll be a big man. That's the way it is, You gotta learn every day. If you sit and learn every day, one day they'll be asking you questions, coming to you. Oh, Rabbi, they'll kiss your hand. Rabbi, tell me what's this, what's that. Because you're the source now of the Torah. The only way to gather up anything is like that, to be consistent. Whether it's work, whether it's business, whether it's Torah, no other way to do it, right? There's no magic tricks when it comes to these things. No tricks, no, there's nothing like that. That's the idea right there. Okay, very good, you get the idea. Another interesting one, right over there. This is very good wisdom. So it says, there's a wise person and there's a fool, right? One of the things about the wise person is that what? That every mitzvah he sees, he grabs it. You know? You don't miss anything. You know? That's what the rabbi said, right? Mitzvah ba le'adecha, al tachamitzena. What does that mean? When a mitzvah comes to you, right in front of you, mitzvah, don't say, now I'm going to go somewhere, I'll come back. What come back? It's right sitting right in front of your face. First do the mitzvah and then go. You know? This is the way a person has to be. Grab it, you know? Grab every mitzvah you can grab. Another example, right? Somebody comes to you for tzedakah. Don't tell him, come back to me in an hour. What come back in an hour? He came to you now. In an hour he may go somewhere else. Right? He may go, he may already come and not come back. So give him a tzedakah now. No, I don't want to give you now. What do you want to do? He doesn't have time now to reach into his pocket. Doesn't have time to write a check. Write the check now. Why later? What for later? This is the idea. So a person who's very resolute, what does he do? He grabs every mitzvah that he can get. Whatever is in his way, grab it right away. Don't wait. Say, "Oh yeah, I'll do it later." What later? What later? What do you know? You don't know what's going to be later, right? What later? Also, when it comes to prayers, right? This is very important. What does that mean? When you wake up, go pray right away. You're gonna wait till the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. That's very lazy minyan, lazy davening, lazy boy. What kind of things is that? When you wake up, go right away and go pray. What are you waiting for? What, for Mashiach you're waiting? Think he's going to take you he's going to drive you there to the shul? Go yourself. Drive yourself. The person that is like that, that's the way he is. A wise person. He grabs the mitzvot right away. What does the fool do? The fool, he says, I don't know, maybe I should do it later, contemplating, starts to procrastinate. I don't know, maybe I should go now and do something else first, go swimming a little bit, go exercise in the gym for a little while, and then I'll come back and I'll do it later. Why later? What later? This is considered to be a fool. What does that mean? He's not resolute. He's not focused. Doesn't have focus. This is no good, right? This is the idea. We'll do one more and we'll stop. I don't want to make you guys too crazy. So, right, exactly. Okay, so it says right? Holech betom yelech betach. This is considered to be a very big musar. What is it saying? It's telling you, right? If you want to be secure in your life, go innocently. Don't be like a trickster. A sneaky guy. One of these snakes. Going here like this, roundabout from behind. Trying all kinds of tricks. There are people like this. They can't rest if they don't pull a trick like one day. Some kind of scam. They don't pull a scam on somebody. There are people like this. They like to pull scams. They like to be tricky and sneaky. If you want to be secure, be straight. Deal straight with people. Don't play games with people. All kinds of mind games, word games. Oh yeah, I really wanted to invite you, but why you don't like the guy? You don't want to invite him. Don't. If you don't like the guy, don't tell him tricks like this.
Some people can.
I wanted to give you this. What you wanted to. Stop playing games. What kind of games is this?
They just can't help it.
Be straight. Be straight with people. Be straight with God. Be straight with yourself. Be straight with your family. Tell them the truth. This is the idea. So when a person deals straight with people, he's secure. You know why? Because God is with him. Hashem is with him. When you're honest, Hashem is with you.
Not only that, but you sleep at night because with them they're not there.
You know what I mean? But right, what do we have the opposite? Right? But a person who's sneaky and tricky, this kind of person, right? You know what happens in the end, right? Everybody finds out about him that he's a crook. You know what I mean?
But these guys,
like those guys who are running those hearings tomorrow, right? All those crooks over there, right? We know each one of them is like a sneak,
What do you think will happen?
Snakes. You're dealing with snakes, so you gotta bring like a good tool, to hit them, like
Now,
try to. That's what they're gonna try to do.
You're saying this because you're a Trumpster.
This is just this is the truth, This is the truth.
If you're not a Trumpster, you think he's the bad guy.
I wouldn't say that, but okay, whatever. We can talk about that, but the point is like this, right? That when a person is a sneak, like the shift guy, everybody knows he's a sneak, You get publicized in the end. What happens? You get a bad name. Everybody knows you're a crook. Everybody knows that you like to play games. This is what happens to people like that.
So you think it'll go again?
So people think they can hide these things. Because it's nobody knows. It's only my mind. Nobody knows I do these tricks. But the people find out. Right, you're gonna get a bad reputation.
Will you tell me what's going to happen to my president or not?
This is the idea,
You're the rabbi.
right?
You're the
So,
one who's supposed
what is that? If you want to be secure, go straight. Don't play games with people. This is the idea, right?
Jimmy, you're with us or against us?
We're strong, all the way.
Right. Just to finish off, right, to tell you something interesting about this idea, that they say, right, that in the times of David HaMelech, there was many wars that had occurred at that time. There was many battles, and David's army was like very mighty army, top notch, right? So what happened was that they used to go out and go hand-to-hand combat. This was not tanks, and missiles. Hand-to-hand combat, swords, and spears, and arrows and this again. So what happened was that they used to go physically kill people, not like just look some control room, with a joystick, like this. This was physical battle, right? So they say that David HaMelech, how many people he would kill in one battle? 800 people he would kill physically, mutilate them. They say there were also others who killed less, but they were also big tzaddikim. Like Avishai, right? Avishai was one of his generals. He would kill 300 people in one battle.
That was his limit?
Right. That was like the best he could do, right? The best, 300. David would get 800. Single-handedly I'm talking about, right? Single-handedly. So the question is why? They say, by the way, the Chazal, that as the generations went on, and the kings were from the King David also, they were not so mighty in battle like this, like David was. So the question is why? They would tell Hashem, what? We'll go out, but you do the battle for us. We're a little bit scared. You know what I mean? We're not so so strong-hearted like David. David was a lion, in his heart. No fear. Go in, just go in. No fear, no nothing. But the later kings were not like that on that level. This is mentioned in the book Mesilat Yesharim. So what's the reason for that? Why this discrepancy, right? They say the reason is because David was a straight man. He was a straight shooter, He didn't play games with people.
Except when he stole somebody.
He was a tzaddik, right? That was the exception, and he got punished for that very heavily, right? You know that his child died, and his son rebelled against him. He lost a lot of things because of that. But until that point, when he got that level, he was straight, 100%.
So we're not allowed to hit on somebody else's one.
So what does that mean? That's for sure, right? But we're talking about David HaMelech. He was 100% halacha. Everything he did according to halacha, never deviated from the halacha. Because of that, he was to go out in battle, and he was relying on Hashem. He knew that nothing was going to happen to him. Because when a person is a tzaddik like that on that level, he knows that nothing will happen. He's invincible. And he also has complete confidence in his heart. Understand? This is the idea. But when it comes to the later, Avishai was also a big tzaddik, was general, but not on that level like David. He wasn't that righteous, So he only killed 300 people. So the truth is, right, that what does it say in the Chumash regarding this? How much is one supposed to kill, one tzaddik? So it says one will kill thousands, it says, right? In Bechukotai, Parashat Bechukotai, it says 1,000. So the question is, why did David only get 800? You understand? So what he used to say to Hashem, right? He used to say to Hashem, I really should be getting 1,000, but because I'm not such a big tzaddik, like you said, I'm only getting 800. Okay. So what does that mean? Even David was a really big tzaddik, 100%. Nevertheless, he wasn't perfect. There were some blemishes there, something.
Was anybody perfect?
On his level, you know what I mean?
Rabbi, was anybody perfect throughout our history?
They say that there were several tzaddikim that never did a sin in their life, like Binyamin, right? The son of Yaakov Avinu. There were some tzaddikim like this, they never sinned in their life. Very rare, but there were some. Also the father of David, right? Ishai. They say Ishai never sinned in his life. Okay, so anyway, the point is like this, right? That why did David HaMelech feel this confidence to go out like this? Because he knew he had no sins. What does that mean? The fact that he couldn't get 1,000 was because he didn't have, there are some things that a person does, they're not considered to be sins really, technically, but imperfections, like blemishes. There are some things so he wasn't 100% with that. In terms of sins, he didn't do sins. Even, by the way, when he took that person's wife, there was no sin over there, Chazal say, right? Why is that? Because he did everything according to halakha. Discussion, right? I think I've discussed this before. We discussed this before. Maybe David wasn't here, but we'll discuss it again one more time. But the point is like this, right? That when a person is straight, and he does everything, straight shooter, there's nothing to worry about. You can sleep well, sleep good. Nothing will happen to you. Because the only thing that causes the harm to a person is the sins. It's not the snake that kills; it's the sin that kills. Let's understand that, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu should bring us to be perfect tzaddikim, And we should be zochet to see the Geula Shlema b'mehera v'yameinu b'yat HaMashiach. Amen v'amen. You should see blessings in your life, B'ezrat Hashem. Shefa, blessing,
Amen.
plenty, good tidings. You should have good harmony in your family. You should have wealth and health and happiness
Together
for
with
you and all the people who watch the lecture. B'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Chazak u'baruch. Thanks for coming.